Hi everyone, we're in the Glaze area today because I want to revisit mixing glazes correctly so that we don't have this uneven application of glazing. You know, it is a pretty cool effect, but this side is a little dry, this side is properly applied, has the right thickness of glaze on there to get the color that is expected out of glazing, right? So this is another example. This is the cocky, just making sure that the glazes are mixed correctly and being a little bit more vigorously with the whisk is important. I don't think that was something I covered in the previous glaze demonstration. So a typical culprit of this is the yellow salts. One, because it's pretty high in the bucket, right? So mixing properly can be difficult. So as you can see, there's a good separation already from yesterday after people using it. So the water is sitting on top. If I were to plunge a piece in there with the glaze like this, I would get a result like this, right? So looking at the piece, dipping this way, right? This lip right here will get into the glaze that has settled and is a little bit more thick in the bucket, and then this side here is the mainly saturated with water. So we want to make sure that we get a nice even mixing throughout. So if I actually mix with tight circles in the center, I'll begin getting this vortex and the glaze will begin spiraling around. So people are mixing like this, which works with some glazes, but with a lot of glazes, we really need to bring that base up, that settled glaze material up from the bottom. So if you're sitting here mixing for 2 minutes like this, it's really not mixed. So just like beating eggs, small, tight circles. Your forearm should get a little bit warm, right? It should be a nice little bit of a workout. So those tight circles that I'm mixing really moves that glaze around, right? And if you notice, I didn't splash anywhere either. So it's not a big, vigorous circle mixing. So keep it small circles, a little vigorous, and you'll blend the glaze a lot easier. So with that, I want to demonstrate a couple of glazing methods that I haven't yet. So let me put you down. And what we need for the pour and roll method is a little pitcher, which is in the bins that are on the end of our glazing tables here. And I'm going to be pouring and rolling the inside of this cup here. So I want to pick up at least half of this pitcher's worth and then pour that amount into the cup, at least taking up about half the space on the inside of the cup to 2/3. And then from here, slowly pouring and rolling out. And it takes a little bit to get the timing right. You know, commit to the flow of turning the cup and you know, pouring out. And if you happen to not go all the way around, just pour a little bit of glaze back in there and pour and roll to cover everything just fine, right? And this one's kind of fun. I got this really nice edge here that I think I'm gonna dip like this in another glaze, and I'll keep my finger marks on it. So I think that would be really nice. So I'll figure out a glaze to do that, and we'll have this as an example. And the other method is brushing. A lot of people have experience brushing glazes on more than pouring or dipping. As your work gets larger, there are some flower vases and other forms that people are making that may not be able to dip the whole thing in. So like for a tall flower vase, like about like this, you know, pour and roll the inside of the glaze, and then you can either dip, you know, the top end and then dip the bottom end and wipe off the base for an even application, or brushing, right? So brushing is a great way to control thickness. With my brush, dipping it in the glaze and brushing on to my bisqueware. So depending on how much texture you have, brushing is a great way to keep that relief, right? So you can still see the relief through the glaze. That's what I'm looking for. So on the top here, I brushed one time. We'll see how that comes out, right? And then the bottom here, I'll brush 2 layers. And we can take a look at the difference in application. So what necessitates a layer of brushing? Brushing once and letting it dry, and then brushing it again. That will be 2 times, right? So taking my brush, dipping it, getting glaze on where I need it to be. This is the most common method of glazing, is brushing. And then with the base here, I'll dip, so we can see all the different methods, right? And then the brush I can just clean out in the rinse bucket, and then this is ready to go, right? So this is a revisit on the glazing methods so that you get even application, right? So please reference this short video for your finals. I'd like for you guys to have an even application. One, because you know, it's what we're doing in the class, and 2, I want you to have something that you know, you'll enjoy afterwards. So having something that's a really nice even application of glaze works you know, well for your pieces. Okay, See you soon.